Longlegs tells the story of a special FBI agent, Lee Harkin, who's tasked with solving the serial killing crimes of a criminal or murderer known as Longlegs, as that's the only clue he leaves. He leaves this mysterious notes after every victim of his, and at the end he just signs it Longlegs. It's written like the Zodiac and all coded, and nobody's been able to solve the code. And she's brought along to head up this investigation or help. And what she uncovers is that these are occult killings and there's another victim coming up real soon, and she's racing against the clock to try to solve who this person actually is and how to stop him. Now, with that little synopsis out of the way, let me say I just finished watching this movie and I really, really like this movie a lot. Osgood Perkins, I don't know anything about him, but from watching this film, this is magnificent. This movie is like an amalgamation of a bunch of different films. It's like Silence of the Lambs, it's like Criminal Minds, it's like Seven, and at the same time, he's trying to give it this grindhouse type of feel because it starts out like a grindhouse film. But anyway, this is really good. So Lee Harkin is she's an FBI agent. She's a little bit weird, a little bit awkward, and she's tasked with finding a missing child or something. I think it's actually, yeah, she's tasked with finding a missing child. And she just gets assigned a partner, and as she's going and investigating, she's at this location with all these houses where they're asking questions to people who they think might be the suspect. Her partner's the one knocking on doors, and she just stares at a house for a while, and she says, "This is the house, that's the one." She wants to go in and call for backup, and her partner is like, "What are you talking about? You can't just go off of your assumption. You didn't even see anything. What makes you think?" She's like, "I don't know, I just know." Something happens, and she's then given a series of tests, and you discover that she is a psychic. But it doesn't really necessarily, that's the only thing I have a problem with, but it kind of does resolve itself in a way because she's not technically a psychic, but that's going to be in spoilers. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put flashing lights here and just say spoilers from now on because that's about it. I don't want to get into anything more. And she gets basically after this incident and finding out she's a psychic, they put her on this serial killer called Longlegs. This guy who's been going around for 30 years, murdering families and things, but leaving no evidence, no fingerprints, nothing except for a note that's coded with the word, with signing off with Longlegs. So she's put on this case and she gathers the information, she's running through it, and she ends up breaking the code. And she solves everything pretty much. She solves the pattern and everything like that, but she doesn't know why there was one day where somebody was missing that's supposed to have died and they never died that day. And we continue on from there, and we also see the serial killer. So it's a lot like Silence of the Lambs in that aspect, and the same way it's like Seven. And it's kind of, because there's occultism involved, Satanism. It's a very unique film in my opinion, honestly, and I love the occult aspect in it, and I love not explaining it. There's a scene at the end of the film where you see something and it kind of proves the supernatural elements of it or demonic elements in it. And I wish they didn't do that, but at the same sense, it doesn't mean that we're actually seeing that or that's actually happening. It could just be her seeing it. So yeah, so here we go. Here's the spoiler part. So Nicolas Cage is fantastic as this fucking killer, although he's back to his old Nicolas Cage, crazy acting Nicolas Cage, and it works with this. The makeup is fantastic. So this killer Longlegs, he gets to the family through these little girls. He tells them that they've won a prize, and he gives them the prize is this porcelain life-size doll. And inside this doll is something that he made, and I guess he either cursed it or hexed it or put a spirit in it, because it could be a spirit in there, and it's demonic. He did like demonic rituals, but we don't see those demonic rituals or anything like that. So they exclude that element from there. It's just as soon as this doll gets brought into the home, the family become brainwashed, and they start murdering each other and they start doing whatever the spirit tells them to do, which is supposedly Satan, and they kill each other. I love that part about it. I love this trying to solve this. I love the eeriness of this film. I love the way it's shot too. There's a lot of shots that are very unique. The way Osgood Perkins did this, I was like, this guy is, wow, this is pretty good. I don't know what he's done other than this, to be quite honest. But this, if if he continues like this, I'm gonna be a big fan of his, because this was really good. Let me see. He's only done one other film. Oh no, he's done a few. Twilight Zone. Oh, I don't know. But the Black Coat's Daughter. I like that movie too. Yeah. So he did that. That's another good one. I like him. He does this dark shit that I like, and it's just dealing with occult and demons and shit. I wonder what's going on with Osgood Perkins' family life and everything, especially since his dad was Norman Bates. But anyway, there's a lot of great shots in this film, and the sound is great. I love this because they did the same thing with the guy who did Killing of a Sacred Deer. No music, no composing, no, and then just like a awkward sound. It's very quiet, this film. I don't want to get into, maybe I should, because this is the real spoiler part, because what I said so far isn't spoilers. It's it just you know, that this is what he does with the occult thing. That's not really the spoiler part at all. So here's the spoiler part, okay? Let me just say, I highly recommend you guys watch this. So I don't want you to listen to this and then watch the movie. Please stop this. If you didn't stop it already, please stop it now, and definitely go watch this movie. Rent it, buy it, do whatever you have to. This is a great film. You're gonna really love this movie. I think, personally, and as I'm gonna give this 5 out of 5 stars, I think this is great. Spoiler time. They know who the killer is, and they arrest him. And it was Nicolas Cage in the most freakishly makeup I've ever seen, because since he gives these porcelain dolls to these kids, and that's how the demon's in there, he actually looks like a porcelain doll himself. His face, like the makeup, or like he did something, cosmetic surgery or whatever. He looks like a doll, like a woman, because he gives girl dolls to these people that look like the little girls. So he looks like a girl who's like I don't know. It's very weird, creepy, because in the beginning it starts out with a little girl, and you see her walking out, seeing this car, and then he approaches, and you don't see his face, and you see it very briefly, and it cuts to the opening titles, and then he covers it for a majority of the part until they actually do a transition from the doll's face to his face as he's waiting for, I don't know, just waiting to be arrested, and he gets arrested. She confronts him because she says there's another person helping him, that she's come to that conclusion that somebody else is helping him, blah blah blah, and then they're like, "What do you? We got him." What? So, and he's so weird, and his acting is great, and this is a magnificent performance. It's true, it's epic, Nicolas Cage, but it works so well with this character. Honestly, if they were to cast somebody else, I think the best person they could have cast other than Nicolas Cage is the kid from Killing of a Sacred Deer. I think he would have been phenomenal in this. So she sees him in the interrogation room, and he's weird and freaky, and then he basically kills himself right there by like destroying his face, just smashing his face onto the table, and he dies. His nose breaks off, there's blood everywhere, and she's just like shocked, and he's dead. And then she's still adamant that there's another person involved, and as you follow the movie, you already know that you could tell as a viewer that you know where it's leading to, and it's that her mother, who's a hoarder and a weird person herself, Lee basically knows this killer because he confronted her one day. Like he was trying to kill her. She was the number that was supposed to die and it wasn't. And so when she was younger, he approached her. The mother scared him away, supposedly. She had a picture of him. That's how they caught him. So now she's positive that he has an accomplice. She returns home, and yes, everything gets broken up to her as you discover her mother kills the woman that drove her home, the agent that drove her home, and then her mother tells her basically like, I made a deal with him. He was gonna kill me. I said no. I decided to help him. He let you survive if I helped him, and I started helping him, and I started taking these dolls to these people's homes, and I had to sit there and watch as the doll made the family kill themselves. And as long as I continued to do this, you would be alive, blah, yada, yada, yada. And that, long story short, she shoots the doll after the doll that was of her, of Lee Harkin, because they had one in the basement. It was a Lee Harkin doll. So she shoots it, and this black mist comes out, which is like the Satan or whatever leaving, and Lee collapses, and she's no longer has amnesia. She says she just had to program her, tell her what to see, what not to see, and that's how she was able to not remember any of this happening at all. So Lee wakes up after she was blacked out, and her mother's gone, and she realizes that there is some person that's supposed to die today. and she remembers, oh my God, I was invited to my boss's daughter's birthday party, and my mother probably obviously knows this, and she's gonna go kill the girl or the family. So she rushes over there, and that's shit's crazy there too. And it's this is such a good movie. That's all I could say. I'm sorry. I know I've been rambling and going all over the place, but I honestly love this film. So much so, I think it's a great movie. Again, great performances, great directing, great cinematography, great lighting too, especially at parts where it makes no sense. I guess I think there was an outside light, like they go to a house, they go X marks. It's a whole thing. It's a great film. If you're into crime dramas like Criminal Minds, if you're into, like for me, I really enjoy this movie because I like serial killer stuff. Like one of the two main things I love when I was a kid were serial killers and mafia. And the mafia, the Italian mafia. So those are the two things I really loved growing up. So I was interested in them. So this movie is great because it's like Silence of the Lambs in that regard, where you're trying to solve the crime and try to see who this killer is. And this killer's leaving clues like the Riddler, but nobody could have solved it until Lee came along. And, you know, then there's all these puzzles, and then they find the first doll. And then from there, you get to the supernatural aspect where there's like this ball, this metal ball that's in all these porcelain dolls' head. And that's where the demon is, but they don't know that at the time. And when the FBI is scanning it, it sounds like, you know, like a not an Ovilus device, like the SB7 spirit box that scans radio frequencies, so you hear like kind of like white noise and static coming through and like whispers. So he's like, oh, like the examiner that was examining the doll, he was like, I kept thinking I was hearing my wife's name. So it's a really interesting and unique film at the end of the day, and it's done very well. This is the one thing I will say negative about this movie is like I kind of wish Nicolas Cage's character didn't die, because I would love to see a sequel of this. They can still do a sequel. They sure as hell could still do a sequel, to be quite honest. The way it ended, they could do a sequel. Kind of, I think. But Lee's a good person, so they can't, and it's better they don't. But I really like this movie a lot. I like Black Coat's Daughter. Just a progression of his filmmaking abilities of Osgood Perkins' filmmaking. This is great. Like, elevates. Black Coat's Daughter is another film you should definitely check. I believe on my website, which I haven't touched in like 5 years, I have some movie reviews on there written. And one of them is for the Black Coat's Daughter. So you should definitely check that one out too. These two are great. I love this. I love this genre. I love this. I can't praise this movie anymore. Anyway, if you got through this review or this ramble, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about this movie. You saw it. If you like this video at all, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new here. Share it with somebody who you think might like this video if they saw the actual movie too. And yeah, I have no complaints at all, except admit that they probably shouldn't have killed him. Yeah. Anyway, I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.